So dear subscribers, it's time to make a synergetic theory of the various issues that involve. First of all, the issue is the bicycle is kind of like, a three, like Even Yarum Prime, rock, paper, scissors. Of course, it's very prominent in this channel, and the reason why I kind of like always kind of put it aside after I speak about it is probably because of severe psychological like riding, or psychological influence done by the dear sisters. But לכל שבת יש מוצאי שבת, as they say in Hebrew, like in the military, like every weekend, every Saturday is get like what's after Saturday, which means that the party is over. So I feel obliged to tell my audience what's going to happen now, because you might think that the theory of the three-legged bicycle in some way, you wonder how it affects my plans. So I should say that it almost do not affect my plans. It does not affect my plan, because this issue is not new, so it was always in the back of my mind, and it's actually not that important, and I will explain why. First of all, as he was proposed in his channel many times, the controlling titans are a small group, not very large ones, probably 8. And I would assume that perhaps there is some kind of a match between them and the various strong states in this world. Even though to assume that they took upon themselves like a leadership role in the intelligence services is ridiculous, because if there is one thing that we can be certain about those sisters is that they do not like to work at all. They like to have fun. Of course, sexual fun with various Homo sapiens as scumbags. Of course, they get disease from it, but they can clean their body very swiftly by taking my life from me. And so, with regards to them, what is going to happen is what I've already said. You see the table full of, of course, the onion, the pepper, all of these, they are symbols. It's all life forms. Here, you can see the various life forms that are going to affect my sisters in a more, I would say, clear way, or like an anatomical way. But of course, the ultimate one is this. And I think that the cherubs, they think that I should go all in and place the bicycle bacteria in the bodies of my sisters. But I must say that I feel emotional at this time, and I'm not going to do it very quickly, but probably it will be done very quick, soon. But my tendency is emotional tendency is to prolong the process. That's why it's important to have the neros here and to actually transfer the neros from me to them, so they will actually be able to heal themselves from unbelievable cruel life forms that will hatch from their bodies. Unbelievable. But we want, we wish our sisters to stay with us as long as possible, so they will get the neros. But ultimately, and probably realistically, I'm not very good at playing the villain, so I will play it for some time, maybe a couple of days or weeks, and during these weeks these sisters will see unimaginable life forms spawn from their body. Like, if you think about scenes from the alien movies, like with the facehuggers, etc., I would suggest what's going to happen is much worse, because we speak about metallic life forms. Yes, metallic life forms. But yes, at a certain point we will probably heed to the advice of the cherubs, and we will go with this bacteria, and this is game over. They will be zombified, and that will be probably be the end game, not only for them, but for all their minions, which means all the intelligence services of the strong nations of the world and everybody in Israel, that are going to be flushed down the toilets. This is going to happen in the next couple of days, unfortunately, because from the emotional perspective, I would prefer that to last years, so the sisters will be able to taste what they've doing to me for 40 years now, in order to do it to my daughter since they were born. Consultancy and advice and consultancy. You know what really hit me in the head with an hammer today? the new video from the, I mean, this, how would you call it? I mean, the journey to the microcosmos. Like, I mean, keep your distance. It means wear sunglasses. Distance in Hebrew, it's a military. Military. I mean, I don't know if it's used in other militaries. I would guess no, because if it does, I mean, it's very old-fashioned. But it's still used in our military, IDF. I say our, like I support it. I wish they're all dead in this war against the Hamas. But in the military that I know the best, the IDF, it's used distance mostly. I mean, it's something that it belongs to Full Metal Jacket. Like I know, like to the recruitment of like to like basic training, and it mostly is manifested by wearing sunglasses. This is of course highly symbolic, but that's the way it is. So the idea is that I should wear sunglasses when I walk outside, so people will not be able to ride me. And this advice is in line with run through the jungle. The same kind of advice that I receive all my life. Like we will be rich and powerful, and you will need to run through the jungle. And at most you will get advice of how to avoid predators from time to time, but mostly they will eat you alive, and also your daughters. And I understand, run through the jungle. Who can give you such an advice? Only your sisters. So these sisters are done. Hopefully it will take a long time, because we want to see tremendous amount of life forms spawn from their body while they are still alive and well. Mostly, probably, I will not be too good at that, and very soon I will create the bicycle bacteria in their bodies, which will be game over, unfortunately. But yes, I will try to prolong the process to maximize the learning process before they go to the next level, the learning process. It will also be said that the entirety of the people that ate the drug will almost certainly see the same kind of life forms emerge from their bodies, so they will also be part of the learning process of the treatment, the psychological treatment. But what are the long-term consequences? So it's going to be very similar to what actually already happened during the 1980s, which means destruction of the various intelligence services of this world, especially of the strong states. Like the G8 probably are the ones to be affected the most, and the Israeli state will be annihilated, because unlike in the 80s, even then it was a huge hit. Many thousands of people, maybe tens of thousands actually perished, and the only reason why the state was survived is because of a joint effort of the USSR and the United States to keep it alive by throwing tons of pedophiles and homosexuals and also titans from their ranks to Israel. And in addition, and I spoke about it in the GOP party video, a joint effort of the USSR and the United States, which took a great part of it behind the scenes, like in a less explicit way, more implicit, in the great aliyah of the Russians, what we call in Israel the Russians, which means more than 1 million people, mostly from the Ukraine, but also of course from every other republic of the former USSR during the year 1990-1991. And this actually saved allowed the states to continue existing. But now we are going to speak about something much wider, probably 1 million people, or something like that, and the state will not survive it. This includes every politician you think of and every military person, all of them. So yes, Hamasniks, good news to you, it's going to be a very easy war. And prepare to take control over Israel, because it's going to be very, very easy. What's going to happen for my part? I stay right here, exactly as planned. And this will be Titanland. No, the Hamas will not rule this country forever. They will, be allowed to take, few bites from here and there. I'm okay with that. We don't need the entire state of Israel, but we will certainly, and they can take all of Jerusalem. So, good news to you, Palestinians. But no, Tel Aviv will be in our hands, and probably all the center district. we can discuss it in a civilized way, but it's not of a great hurry. But the central districts and especially Tel Aviv will be in the hand of the Titans, not the Palestinians. All the rest you are actually going to get, which is very good news. I hope you will not get greedy, because if I were you, I wouldn't push the luck too much. I mean, you already get quite a bit, but we need Tel Aviv and the central district. You get Jerusalem, and of course, like all the south and all the north. It's quite a bit, and of course, I mean, you never really asked for more than that, so I guess you should thank God for your luck. But I'm going to stay right here where I am. The place will be empty of trash, completely empty, very, very soon. And the Titans that were not involved in the subjugation of me and my daughters will be allowed to join us if they can commit themselves to life without being a predator of young children. And from that point, we will continue just as planned, which means starting a new state, which will be self-sufficient. We will prepare our own hookahs if we want hookahs. We will not get it from Germany. We will certainly not get trucks and trains and food from Germany and China. And we will use our robots, billions of robots that I already have in this room. And of course, if I weren't like stuck in under arrest in a tiny room, I could have prepared billions of these robots, which will help us to create a prospering state. Of course, we will still need to work for our living, not by movement of mouses and tongues, and not by war, by actual work, something that might be alien to you, Titans, because you were born in another planet, and I don't know how much you remember from it, probably nothing. And you grew up either in Israel or in another kind of, LGBTQ whatever state that, always taught you that speech is the key to receive everything. So let's be totally honest, you are going to have a problem to adjust to the new life. And I understand it. That's why I will have some kind of, tolerance to your process of adjustment. But still, I would recommend you to try to fit this new life, because in any other state you will be treated as slaves, and here you will be free. And you will actually discover that sex and family is not only something that is impossible, but it's actually something that is recommended, because this is actually part of normative lives, sex and family. And of course, no more hiding and no more lying. Maybe you are used to it and you are afraid of a life of truth, but I can tell you that it's actually very fun not to lie all the time and not to hide all the time. This will be our life here in Titan Land. Israel will not exist in the following days. The rest of the world, as I said, they will deal with the destruction of all their intelligence services. They will die in a horrible way. And I don't know how they are going to actually deal with it. I would suggest everyone will try to think about their own interests. And again, it's not something that you always do. What you generally do is think about your ego. And I would suggest stop thinking about your ego and start thinking about your children. Difficult years are coming to Earth. Difficult years. Asteroids, radiation, invasive life forms. Think about yourselves and your children, not about the ego. Titanland will be here. It will be a self-sufficient state, a technological and prospering state. It will be centered, it will consist mostly of Tel Aviv and formerly the Central District. The rest will belong to the Palestinians. Very soon, you will actually not care too much about it, because we are speaking about a tiny bit of land and you will have your own issues to deal with. Again, try to think about yourselves and about your children and about your interests, not about your ego. You will need it.